Welcome back, everyone. Real quick tutorial on utilizing some documentation features within the application. Just a couple of search options and finding anything you've ever documented in the application between performance evaluations, audits, and then this little notes feature that I think is a really cool feature for human resource purposes. It's going to give you guys the ability to always reference back to conversations and engagement that you've had with an employee, which is incredibly important when you start thinking about how to drive performance and drive behavior change within your organization. Really being able to create consistent engagement with team members and employees is vital to that. And documenting those conversations for both the benefit of the team member or employee and for the benefit of the organization. From a legal perspective, and then obviously from a performance-driven perspective as well. And so we're going to go ahead and start with the notes features, and then I'm going to show you guys how to find previous performance evaluations and previous audits as well. So looking at this particular employee's profile here, if you go over to the notes section right here on this upper right-hand spot, and you click on it, what this does, this particular feature allows two things. One thing it allows is the creation of a note, and that note can be anything. Whether it's a note in regards to frequent absences or frequent late arrivals, whether it's about dress code violations, inappropriate behavior, or maybe it's great stuff like, hey, you know what, this person's consistently going above and beyond, and I really want to give them kudos. Whether it's you're documenting performance evaluations that you've had or the feedback in regards to performance evaluations, anything you want, you can document in this note feature. And then obviously the feature allows you to also find any note that you've ever created. And this is a very human resource element of the application and a very important piece of the application from a legal perspective. In the event that you have employees that leave the organization on maybe not so good terms, it allows you to justify maybe reasons for termination or reference back days where they didn't arrive on time or there were no shows to work. Or if you're starting to think about like, hey, who do I promote? Who do I promote to maybe my office manager? Or do I, who has a great attitude? And you're documenting that stuff. Anytime somebody goes above and beyond, you can always go back and read these notes and say, hey, you know what, there was a dozen times last year where this particular employee stayed late when they didn't need to, or came in when they didn't have to, or encouraged another team member, another employee to push themselves. And that's really something you're going to want to have an account of. And that's what this note feature allows you to do. And so we'll start with creating a new note. Before I show you guys how to find existing notes. So create a new note is just clicking this box right here, that self-explanatory create new note. And when you bring it up, what it's going to allow you to do is first it allows you to click the type of note it is. Right now the app Synapse only has a few pre-populated ones to select from. A job objectives discussion, performance evaluation discussion, and quality audit feedback and coaching. So you're probably going to be using this other coaching type more frequently than not. This is just to say, well, it doesn't fit the description of these other three, so I'm going to pick this one. We are going to add some more pre-populated topics in here, some more pre-populated selections. But for the most part, these are the options you have right now. So let's just put another coaching type for now. This is the date the conversation took place. So, or if you're wanting to document the date the incident took place. So if it was maybe a late arrival and it happened yesterday, but you're just talking about it today, you may want to reference the date it happened. It's up to you how you want to utilize that. Over here, you have two options. This option says it's currently pre-populated on admin only note. What that means is that whatever you're about to put in that note box down there is only going to be viewable by you, the admin. If I would highly encourage this use if it's something you don't want the employee to see. If it was a integrity issue violation discussion or something that isn't necessarily imperative that the other employees see, and you just document it for legal purposes or cover your rear type of reasons, then I would highly encourage you to document it as, or to code it as an admin only note. This would mean that the employee would not have access to this note. Whereas if you click this option, viewable by employee, this is going to populate this window that's basically telling you this employee that you're about to document this note on is going to be able to see it, which is fine, because this might be a great note. Hey, listen, you did a great job doing this, or blah, blah, blah. You know, maybe it isn't a great note. Maybe it was like, hey, this particular customer was super upset about the way you engage them in regards to their claim or whatever it might be. You document it and you provide feedback, but the feedback piece is the reason you would want this employee to have access to it. So you might say, hey, expectations moving forward are A, B, and C, so make sure you do that. And then so them being able to reference back to this was the feedback I got would be important. So them having access to the note would therefore be important. So you would just put whatever notes you wanted in there. I'm just going to put in test. And then you would hit save note and send. All right, and so now that note would permanently be in there. Remember, it could be notes about anything. It could be about late arrivals. It could be about disciplinary conversations, integrity issues, or it could be about great stuff, things that they're doing well, things that you're seeing, and so any note that you would want to put in there and have record of would remain in there. But now let's assume you're 2 years into using this application and you have hundreds of notes in there between the 2 years this employee's been working for you, and now you're wanting to find a particular note from like 2017, and so you can create a date range where you're looking for that note. So you would just select 2 dates. You probably have a lot of experience in utilizing this kind of stuff if you're booking hotels and whatnot. You can utilize this pre-populated date window here. Then the type of note. In this case, let's say I'm looking for the note that I just created. I would click other coaching type, and it populates or isolates the note to that type of note. And then maybe I know for sure it was a private note, and so I private admin only. And so I know it's one of these 2 notes that I completed. So then I would bring it up. And so that's basically what this feature does. It's a pretty cool feature. Again, it just allows you to keep track of conversations that you're having with employees, and from both a legal and performance driving perspective, it's super valuable that you're documenting conversations that you're having and how you're engaging with team members. A couple of things I want to show you. I think in one of the other tutorials, I briefly showed you how to find prior completed performance evaluations. You would just click on completed evaluations here, and then you can isolate by year, and then the outcome met, not met. If I'm only wanting to find her performance evaluations where she did not meet overall expectations, I click on that and it'd bring it up. And there's only one, so that's good. And so the other one is audits. So if you click on audits and you're wanting to find previously completed audits, so like, this particular employee has 20 raw new auto process audits completed year to date. And if I want to if I want to try and find a particular one I gave her feedback on, I'll click on past audits here. Let me go back and do that one more time. So raw new auto process, and I'm wanting to find an old one that I completed to reference it or to have a follow-up conversation about it. I click on view past audits right here, and it's going to bring up every audit I completed for this particular employee. And it has the client and prospect's name here. This is the only customer information that goes into this application. This is not a application where it's designed to track customer progress or track customer follow-up or anything like that. This is not a CRM system. It's not a customer database. This is the only reason this particular client prospect name is in here is so that you know which engagement it was, or which customer was engaged with this particular process that you were looking at rating. And so let's say I'm looking at one from 2017. So I would just go pick all of 2017. So then it isolates only 2017, and I'm looking for one that was not met, and I'm looking for raw new auto. So these are the 7 that I completed on this particular employee that were not met in 2017, and oh yeah, Steve Stone, there's the one I really wanted to look at. So I'd bring it up, and that's how I would find it. And so that's pretty much it. That's how you find old records. The note box, again, is highly valuable in terms of being able to document engagement with employees and being able to track it. If you guys have any questions on this, feel free to reach out, and yeah, so we'll get you on the next tutorial.